What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Omega Red. His event starts tonight. So I'm doing a guide talking about a little bit about unlocking him, but really talking about like his T4s, his ISOs, what to run him in, what game modes he's going to work best in. Just kind of give you an overview for those of you who are unlocking on Omega Red tonight, which should be a significant portion of the player base. This is his first time returning. He was already here once. A lot of people didn't get the chance to unlock him because there were some pretty crazy unlock requirements for him, but hopefully most people are going to be able to unlock him this time. So if you guys do find this video helpful, you do find it informative, or you enjoy it, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's just start with his T4s here. So I'm actually got this pulled up over on Marvel Strike Force, and we're just gonna, or MSF.gg, and we're just gonna kind of pull from here. So the first thing to know is that he's legendary for a reason. He was the first character to come out with the trauma and heal block combination that made him a hard counter to heroes for hire. We're gonna see that here soon with Morbius as well. Morbius also puts blind on city heroes. Really, we're gonna get a second counter to those heroes for hire team, but Omega Red and Weapon X by far are the best of the counters for Weapon X, or for Heroes for Hire right now, because they can punch up several 100,000 against Heroes for Hire, and it's because of the kit that you get here with Omega Red. So let's start with his passive here. On spawn, apply defense up for 2 turns to self and all Weapon X allies, but really what we're here for is this 50% bonus max health. While any enemy has immunity, all Weapon X allies gain 40% bonus crit chance. And on spawn, this character has 3 or more Weapon X allies, lower enemy damage by 15%. And then inside war, 15% speed bar plus 15% per Weapon X ally. On turn, gain plus 10 damage up to a maximum of 30%. And on spawn, this character has 4 or more Weapon X allies, apply trauma and heal block to all enemies. That is on spawn, which is very much a good counter to Heroes for Hire. 15% health stolen from all enemies and redistributed to himself and all Weapon X allies. 200% focus, and Weapon X allies gain 50% bonus max health and damage. So this passive has quite a bit to it. You can see I have the T4 here, and the reason why is that this is how you get the lowering the enemy damage by 15%. You really, really want this T4. It is a very good T4. It also gives a little bit of viability to your Weapon X teams outside of, say, Heroes for Hire. If you're going against Infinity Watch, for instance, that 15% damage reduction really helps because you have both Gamora and Phyla-Vell on that team, which can do a lot of damage, as you will probably very well know. Then his ultimate, this is another one where you are going to want the T4 on this. This flips all positive effects on the enemies instead of flipping 3. Heroes for Hire has a lot of positive effects flying around on that team. Speed up, deflect, defense up, regeneration. They will get offense up. They will get a ton of positive effects as the fight goes on. You need to be able to make sure that you can flip all of them. If you don't have this T4, you're going to have a bit of a problem fighting against that team. Let's say, for instance, you don't flip defense up on Heroes for Hire. Well, now you've got a problem because now they have defense up instead of defense down. And yeah, you'll be able to put trauma and heal block on them with this ability, but it's still not going to be that as helpful than if they have defense up. So you really do want to have this T4 as well. And you know, what else do you need to say? Like, if you've seen it, you know how great this ability is. Ability block, slow and heal block, and reduce speed bar by 10% on the primary target. And then all other enemies get slow and heal block and reduce their speed bar by 10%, and then applies trauma to all enemies inside war. His special, I have not done the T4 on. You really don't need it because it is only 50% damage boost on his special here. Really, he's already got exactly what you need for this ability. Trauma and heal block to the primary target. You're going to always use this against Shang-Chi and heroes when you're fighting Heroes for Hire. Bypasses heal block to steal 5% of the character's max health and redistribute to himself. Offense down to primary and adjacent targets, and speed up to self and all Weapon X allies. This cannot be blocked. Great. Then his basic, and at some point I may put the T4 on this one, but this one, even without this T4, it still does great. Attacks the primary target for 260% damage. This will be up to 320% damage, and steal 5% or 10% with the T4 on this. Bypasses heal block, and then prolongs the duration of bleed, slow, and offense down the primary target by 1. So if you go back and look at his basic here and his ISO attack, you can see this ISO attack also will also prolong bleed, slow, and offense down on the primary target by 1. This makes him a very, very good striker, in my opinion, which is why I've got striker on him. I mean, yeah, he's you've already got the assists with Silver Samurai. Silver Samurai is assisting. He does Skirmisher with that. He applies the vulnerable. You get the follow up here with Omega Red, and now you've got everything that is getting prolonged, because there's a lot of bleeds, a lot of offense down with this team, and you can also get slow on them by flipping speed up into speed down, and then you get the prolonged duration with his basic attack here. So he's got a couple of handy T4s. You really want that passive in that ultimate, and then the basic is a nice secondary one to have, and you can pretty much skip the special. There's no need to really have the special T4 unless you really want to get that extra damage, but already I'm doing just great without having to get those 2 other T4s. So overall, this is your Weapon X team, and this is pretty much the ISO I'm running on them. Skirmisher on Silver Samurai because he's assisting a lot with his passive. Raider on both Wolverine and Sabretooth because their rebounding attacks get a lot of bonus crit chance with them. And yeah, they're just going to help apply vulnerables all over the place, and then that'll give you plenty of follow-ups with both Lady Deathstrike and Omega Red. Don't really need to say much more about that. We've already done a video talking about the ISOs and T4s overall for Weapon X. If you guys do want to go check that out, a bit more in-depth video on that. But yeah, this Weapon X team is still your Apex War offense team. It's going to be your Apex War offense team for quite a while. I don't see Scopely getting rid of it anytime soon, but yeah, this is one that's going to counter Heroes for Hire, easily beats up on Young Avengers, and beats Eternals. Like, they beat pretty much everything. So really, this is more for Heroes for Hire, but now with now with Dark Hunters coming out, it's going to be interesting to see what else we can do with Weapon X and do some theory crafting in War. Now, beyond War, Omega Red actually does have quite a few uses, and the most popular game mode for him right now is going to be Dark Dimension, and he's a very popular choice for Dark Dimension 5. I used him in DD4 a little bit as well with testing, and he just absolutely crushed it. I used him, Ebony Maw, like Jubilee, and Adam Warlock and someone else, but pretty much a Doc. I also used him with Doc. So pretty much that whole team, you get offense down with Ebony Maw, which is then prolonged by both Doc and by Omega Red. Jubilee's applying blinds. She's stunning character. She's doing mass assists. She's great there too. And then Adam Warlock's doing ability blocks and stuns, and then his basic ISO attack is also prolonging effects on the enemy team. So you have quite a few options there, but if you go and look at everyone who's done legendary nodes for your DD5, everybody's got Omega Red for a reason. I mean, everybody's got kind of like the same team here. You can see like Omega Red, Jubilee, Doc. We got some Phoenix, Invisible Woman here. There's some Ebony Maw. There's more Invisible Woman. You got Shuri in here as well, but everybody's got Omega Red. Really consistent, and he's a very popular choice for this mode. Your legendary characters, there's a few good options for Dark Dimension, and then you kind of have to choose who else you want to bring in. Like you can see there, for instance, a lot of people use Invisible Woman or Shuri. But like, yeah, Adam Warlock, Jubilee, Ebony Maw, Doc, and Omega Red really kind of seem to be the Apex legendaries, but you know, some of these characters are very expensive. Adam Warlock, there's a lot of good Mystic characters out there already, so a lot of people won't bring in Adam. Jubilee and Omega Red are very much popular choices, same with Doc. But yeah, Omega Red with his trauma, flipping things, I mean, there's really no reason why you wouldn't bring him in. He's just very good, plus he's stealing max health from the enemy targets, and if you've played Dark Dimension, you know the enemies have a lot of max health, so he's going to be constantly healing himself up as well. It's just going to be overall really good for a really good idea to bring him in for that mode. Something else to also consider is going to be inside your Doom 2 raids. If you go and look, and this is something I did before, I did a video for this as well, talking about Omega Red and his viability inside the Doom raids. If you go and look at your mutant nodes, and you've probably fought the mutant nodes by now, you know what goes on in here. You have to bring in Astonishing X-Men, but then you have this Doom here, and really you usually have to 2-tap with Astonishing X-Men because Doom is here. He gets off his ultimate. At that point, you have to retreat because you're not going to survive the blast from Doom's time platform and his bots exploding. You're just not going to survive it, so you have to usually back out. But this is where you bring in Omega Red because of his trauma debuff. And what trauma does, if you don't know already, trauma means that the enemy cannot cleanse any negative effects off themselves. So what you end up doing is you bring in your Astonishing X-Men, instead of Kitty Pryde, you bring in Omega Red. And then what this gives you is 2 stuns with both Iceman and Jubilee, and you also get this ability block here with Omega Red. And you can one-shot your mutant boss nodes if you bring in Omega Red in place of Kitty. It's not exactly easy, but it is very much doable, and it's better than what we already have with Astonishing X-Men. So he has good viability for that boss node, but the other 2 nodes, there's no point. That first node's got like a Hela and Greg combo. Omega Red, I think, only moved once in my testing, each time I fought that node. And then on the second one, you've got the multiple man with the dupes, a lot of enemies dying. There's really no point in bringing him in there. Astonishing X-Men, again, really excel as a full team on that one. So the first 2 nodes for Mutants and Doom 2, you're really not going to find a use for Omega Red, but you will absolutely find a use for him inside the Doom 2 boss node, where you're fighting Doom because of that trauma with the stuns, with the ability block. It allows you to control Doom, and it allows you to one-shot that boss node if you do want to try it. So he's one of the better legendaries right now. I mean, his ability to counter Heroes for Hire is great. His trauma and heal block, and the fact that Weapon X just deals so much damage. It's an Apex War team. You're going to find great use for him inside of Dark Dimension 5 if you want to go for him there with legendaries. I mean, right now, if you look at, for instance, with your mutants, there's not a lot of good options for DD5. I mean, off the top of my head, I've considered bringing in Emma Frost for global, and then you got Jubilee and Omega for legendary, and that's really about the limit. You could make an argument maybe for Mr. Sinister and the global nodes for DD5, but beyond those 4, not a lot of good options for mutants inside DD5, so if you've got the mutant gear, you might as well go for it. So, really, there's nothing else to cover there. You know, we've talked about his ISOs, talked about his T4s a little bit, and his viability inside War and some other game modes. Let me know if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything else you want to know about Omega Red, anything you think I didn't cover in this. Let me know. As always, if you guys found this video helpful or informative, make sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys next time.